We're shooting a film which is a test film for HDR and Fujinon lenses and the new codex recorder on the Panasonic VariCam Pure. It's actually a homage to the film Don't Look Now. I hadn't seen the film for a long time. I watched it again and remembered it's very, it's a really interesting film. Quite enjoy working with the VariCam Pure. I've shot with it before, and it's very familiar in terms of the look. It's got quite an organic look to it, which I like. It's not too clinical. The camera, as I found it before, is quite intuitive, and I know Ben, the assistant, really likes the control panel, which he can have wherever he wants on the side, so that's good.
Anything I can do on a practical level just to make our job easier, I'm a fan of. I like the monitor that comes off of the side, especially because it has a viewing platform so I can see what's going on, and also I can access everything nice and quickly.
Codex back just basically gives you the option to run the codex recorder on the back, and it's a nice kind of package the way it clips onto the camera. The raw recording capability, which gives you obviously the 14 stops plus, which you can then turn into a HDR grade or an SDR grade. It basically gives you future-proofing for a HDR delivery and meets the requirements of a lot of the big online streaming companies like Amazon and Netflix. When you're doing an SDR show and you're shooting, say, 4K RAW, obviously that 14 stops of latitude that you get on from the RAW is going to get put into a Rec 709 bucket, which is, doesn't give you anywhere near 14 stops. When you use a HDR grade, you obviously got more, like 10 stops of gradation, so you've got much more top end and bottom end than you have in a Rec 709 colour space. If you're using like a 709 LUT on set, you're obviously not going to be pushing that raw image as high up in terms of bandwidth as you could do if you were monitoring it correctly by using an HDR monitor. I think one of my favourite shots is probably the reflection shot in the water along by the canal side, and real contrast between the highlights and the lowlights, and shot at slow motion. I think that's going to be the shot of the film.
No, I got wonderful reflection off of it. Just picked it up. All the colours were there. It's really nice, and it's interesting how it's going to turn out in HDR. I
mean, the kind of drama I shoot, we always carry at least two zooms. Usually a wide zoom and a long zoom.
It's flexibility and a speed issue. As you know, time is money, and on set that seems to be reflected more than anywhere else. Having these cine zooms has saved us a lot of time, and therefore in the future, saving people lots of money.
The quality throughout the zoom range is really good. It's really nice, and I think the fill and the build quality of them is excellent. Depending on the type of shoot you're doing, I mean, certainly in the situation that we've been in where, you've got one actress who you're trying to play two characters, you've got a very limited period of time to shoot this film, being able to get a wide frame and then crop in, smack in for a tight frame very quickly and get that all in one action is really worthwhile.
I like the fact that the lens have highlighted markers on the side, and I really like the fact that the bokeh that it produces because of the 9 blades of the iris. It's beautiful, it looks lovely at night.
You get really nice bokeh in the back shot. It's the design of the diaphragm on the aperture works really well. You get these really nice shapes. So the 2T2 zoom lenses, the 14.5 to 45 and the 18 to 85, they really come into their own at night because they're fast enough to use at night. They've got wonderful bokeh. That just having that range between 40.5 and then 85 with the two lenses put together is great. And also they're as fast to keep up with everything else.